Hi everyone, my name's Heather and I'm going to be talking about whether Kindle should be used in education. So I was a secondary school teacher and she teaches English, and the other day when we were on the phone talking, she was saying that Lois, the head teacher of a school, wants to start to buy some Kindle Fires for the school. And I was thinking, why does she want to buy some Kindle Fires? What difference is that going to make to whether the kids are going to read or whether they retain the information? So this is a Kindle Fire. It's £129. It's got a touch screen, it's got a 1.2 gigahertz processor, gig of RAM, 7-inch LCD display, Wi-Fi capabilities and 8 gig of memory. I don't know what some of that means, and if I don't know, then is the head teacher going to know? And what does all that mean for education anyway? Time for a quick poll. How many of you here have a Kindle or an e-reader or something like that? Do you prefer the Kindle or do you prefer the actual books?
I prefer the Kindle.
Right, so we're going to see whether that's reflected in the research. So in 2003, Jones and Frelly conducted a survey and they found that 40% of teenage boys just find reading boring. And there's many reasons why children don't like reading. Bevilacqua thought that peer pressure could be one of the reasons. So if a kid's friends thought that reading was nerdy and boring and just plain uncool, then they're less likely to read. And Castanaro thought that family disinterest was part of it. So if the parents don't read, then the kids have got no positive reading role models, and if the parents don't read, why should the kids bother to read? Lewis said that we live in an information world full of websites, emails and blogs, and that the traditional books now are just an unappealing visual presentation. Bevilacqua also said that traditional book with printed text just don't relate to how teenagers access, process and produce information, and that non-traditional books such as e-books or graphic novels may appeal more to these kids. But there are some good points to books. They're more durable than electronic devices, so books that can last decades and even hundreds of years, but the Kindle, it'll only last sort of a few years, especially before the next sort of top device comes along. Books are also cheaper than Kindles. I know some textbooks can be like 40, 50 quid, but you can get some good books that are like 6, 7, 8 quid. But the Kindle is £129, and then you've got to pay for all the books on top of that as well, so it makes it a bit more expensive. And you just can't swat a wasp with a Kindle, it's just not going to work. So how should you choose if this technology should be implemented into education? Well, Rogers came up with a method. He said that the device should be compatible, so students should want it, like it, and they should be able to easily use it. There should also be a clear advantage, and this clear advantage must outweigh the cost of actually buying the devices, and it should be observable in the mainstream of society and education. So why should we pick Kindles and e-readers? Well, some of them have a built-in dictionary, so that all the kids need to do is touch the word that they want to know the definition of. It'll read it in the context that it's in the sentence, and then the definition will pop up at the bottom of the screen. You can adjust the font and the text size, so if they have difficulty reading the small print, they can just make it bigger, and it's also better for those with visual impairments. And nowadays, children are drawn to electronic devices. So if they perceive the Kindle or whatever as a cool electronic toy, then they're more likely to want to read off the cool electronic toy. Go back. Certain e-readers also provide educators with the ability to access, evaluate and analyse information. This means they can look at how long the kids have been reading, if they've got stuck on anything and whether they've used the dictionary. And this can help increase the literacy skills. And also the length of the book becomes no hindrance in choice, so the kids can feel comfortable picking a book that's compatible with their reading level. There's also the flow theory, which described the state of being so engrossing activity that you just forget the world around you. And that you end up participating in the activity for its own sake rather than for an outside reward. So you read because you want to get lost in that world rather than you're just going to get a sticker from the teacher. But an interest in technology doesn't make reading a flow activity. It'll may convince them to pick up the Kindle, but they still need to do the reading. And reading needs to become effortless if it's going to become a flow activity. And Malone in 2011 pitted books against Kindles, and in doing this he found no statistically significant or practical difference between books and Kindles. And average reading comprehension on both, there was just 0.5 of a difference. Those that were below grade, there was just 3.3. Those that were at grade level, 1.1, and those that were above grade level, 1.6. So as you can see, with reading comprehension, there's really nothing in it between books and Kindles. Princeton have also piloted Kindles, and so they swapped the textbooks for Kindles, and they found that students just didn't like the Kindles. They found that it made the highlighting, sticky notes and the scribbling in margins that they've been doing for years, found they made it become useless, and they just didn't feel comfortable with that. So maybe the Kindle isn't quite ready for widespread use in education, or at least not at university. It's also been tested in middle school as well, and it found that they engaged students and it did assist in note-taking, but again it didn't necessarily increase the reading comprehension. So in conclusion, it's still widely debated whether Kindles should be used or books should be used. And I don't think there's ever going to be an absolute answer over which is best. And personally, I don't think the cost of the Kindle, I think the cost of the Kindle is far higher than the actual benefits that you'll get from the Kindle. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
And I was debating whether to buy one because I love to read, but I think the feel of the book and you know, and like you said, when you do something in a book, I can't see the benefits of doing something onto a piece of plastic.
Yeah, I get that, because I've got a Kindle, but I much prefer just having the book in my hand and the feel of the book. And
you can take it with you, do you know what I mean? And my friend, she's got one, and she says to me, oh, it's brilliant in the sun because I can do this and that to it. You know, and I thought, well, if it's sunny, just turn around then, won't you? Do you mean, rather spend that kind of money on a device that stops you getting glared or something. And also, because I'm dyslexic as well, what I think as well with this is it American still, you know, the voice, you know, the voice media? When you've got a word that you don't know and it gives you the thingy, because I find it really hard with technology that if it's spelled a particular way in this country, then it's not in America, but you also always get the American sort of reasoning for it. That's why I said in my book this week, I love technology that around. I like the fact that iPads and all these things out there, but I still need that human interaction with sympathy when I've got two words coming up. It means the same thing, but I still need somebody to tell me, actually, this is what this means, this is what that means, and it's how you see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand where you're going with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you think that, especially with the new fire, that it could lead to students procrastinating a lot more, what with the access to the internet and apps and games?
Yeah, probably, because it's so easy to get distracted on the internet and everything nowadays. There's so much on there, so it's probably likely to happen. Any more questions?
Thank you.